Hi guys, it's Elliot from Make My Vape, the #1 DIY e-liquid store. In today's video, I'm going to be conducting an experiment whereby I test different methods of steeping. Now, there are loads of different methods, with lots of mixologists swearing by their own method. I've heard some pretty crazy stories of people creating their own devices in order to get their e-liquid steeped. I, however, am going to stick to the most affordable and doable ones, so don't worry, I'm not going to be taking apart any computers or making any bizarre devices. Number 1. The simple mix and shake technique. Number 2. 10 hours to breathe, then 2 days in a dark cupboard. Number 3. Using a frother on your fresh mix. Number 4. Leaving your mix in a bowl of hot water for a day. Number 5. Using an ultrasonic cleaner. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to create the same liquid 6 times and put each one through the method explained before. Then I'm going to compare the colour, taste and smell and give my opinion on which one I think's best. For this experiment I'm going to use a 60 VG 40 PG blend in a 3 mg nicotine strength. I am creating a recipe on the Make My Vape recipe page, which is a mix of Flavor West marshmallow, Flavor West dulce de leche, Flavor West sugar cookie, and the Flavor Apprentice's vanilla bean gelato. So, number 1, the mix and shake. Here I have mixed and shaken this liquid and put it in a 10 ml bottle. Number 2, the 2-day covered, breathe and steep. I put the mix straight into a 10 ml bottle and put it in a cupboard and let it first breathe for 10 hours, then put the tip back and let it sit in the cupboard for 2 days to steep. Here's one I made earlier. Number 3, using a frother on the mix. Now I'm going to put it in a 10 ml bottle. Number 4, leaving your mix in a hot bowl. Here I'm going to put the mix in a bottle, then put the bottle in a bowl of hot water. I wouldn't use boiling hot water as heat can potentially degrade nicotine. So let it cool down for around 20 minutes, then leave it in a cupboard for 24 hours. Here's one I made earlier. And finally, number 5, the ultrasonic test. Here I have picked up a small ultrasonic cleaner off eBay for £25. It has an 8-minute timer. So, what I'm going to do is run 8 8-minute cycles for this test. Once the cycle is complete, I'm going to let it sit for the day and run another 8 times 8-minute cycle the following day. Here is one I've done earlier. So here we can see our 5 e-liquids after the experiment. Number 1 and number 3 haven't changed colour very much because they haven't been breathed and steeped properly. But numbers 2, 4 and 5, 2 with the breathing and steeping, 4 in the hot water and number 5 in the ultrasonic machine, have all changed colours quite significantly. The darker colour, it seems, is definitely the more optimal colour, and I think if you were to breathe and steep for longer, the colour would get even darker. Now it's time to have a smell test of our 5 e-liquids. So I'm going to start with number 1, which was just simply mixed and shaken up. Still smells kind of raw. It's quite a long way off what we're going for. There's no real hint of marshmallow or vanilla or the cookie flavour that we put in. It's not sweet enough. This one's much better, number 2. That was mixed and steeped and it was allowed to breathe properly. Definitely getting good aromas of vanilla and marshmallow in that one. Far more optimal than number 1, I'd say. Ugh. This one is really alcohol-y and perfumey, not at all like what we're going for. Yeah, not as good as number 2. Probably worse than number 1 as well. Yeah, number 4's pretty good. It's got quite a good smell of marshmallow in there, although we'd quite like the vanilla and the cookie flavours to come through a little bit more. Yeah, number 5's really good as well. Very vanilla-y. It's quite a nice, well-rounded flavour. So I'd say number 2 and number 5 were definitely the best. Number 2 was breathed and steeped properly, and number 5 was put in an ultrasonic machine. So in terms of smell, I'd say 2 and 5 are the most optimal ones. Right, so now I'm going to taste my 5 different e-liquids. So, this is e-liquid mix number 1. That was just mixed and shaked. See, this doesn't taste like very much at all. It actually tastes quite raw. Number 2. This one was mixed and steeped properly. So let's see how it tastes. It's got quite a nice flavour, definitely much sweeter than the first. I'd say it could do with a bit longer, could steep for a bit longer, because there's definitely more flavour to bring out there. Number 3. This one was just mixed with a frother for a bit. It's definitely better than the first, although I'd say I'm only getting a bit of a vanilla flavour, and the other flavours have been almost completely neglected by that method. So that's not ideal either. Number 4. This was from the hot water. That one's definitely the best one so far. I'm getting more of the cookie flavour in that one. So that one's definitely the most pleasant to smoke so far. And finally, number 5. This one came out of the ultrasonic. Yeah, I'd say that one's pretty good as well. Not quite as sweet as number 4. Definitely getting quite a nice cookie flavour from that one as well. So, to conclude, now obviously you get more full flavours using a more advanced device like this, but like I said, we were just using basic coils for this one. So, number 1, I probably would disregard completely, as there are 4 flavours in this recipe. Number 1 hasn't given enough time at all to let the flavours mix and blend. Number 2 wasn't bad, but because it's quite a complex recipe, I'd say it needs to steep for much longer. So for number 2, it's a very good method, but for more complex recipes, leave it longer. Number 3, again, I disregard. Didn't taste very nice. Number 4, for me, this was my best tasting one. That's what I enjoyed the most. However, it's worth pointing out that with the hot water, it's quite easy to degrade some of the nicotine content. So if you want to use method number 4, it's important to manage the temperature so as not to degrade the nicotine. Number 5, it was a very good method. Don't think it tasted quite as good as number 4, but perhaps we didn't put it in the ultrasonic for long enough. Like I said, with a complex recipe with lots of flavours, you want to either steep it or put it in the ultrasonic for a bit longer. So yeah, that would be my conclusion. For now, I'm going to stick with number 4, but see what works for you guys at home. So check out our other videos for more information on DIY e-liquid mixing, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you check out our website, www.makemyvape.co.uk, for more recipes, guides and DIY supplies. Thanks for watching, guys.